Slick sat behind the wheel, hands drumming on the steering wheel as he watched Lila's front door. He checked the clock on the dash. They didn't have much time before people started noticing their absence. Tonight was it. They'd been planning for weeks, skimming just enough from Remy's cuts to keep it off the radar. Remy would never know, he'd told Lila. Except now Remy was gone, and there was no one left to stop them. They just had to get to the island and disappear. The porch light flickered on, and Lila stepped out. She moved with a practiced cool, her eyes darting across the darkened street as she strode toward the car. Slick exhaled, fingers tapping the wad of cash in his pocket for reassurance. Everything they needed was stashed in the trunk. Cash, fake IDs, and a pair of one-way tickets. As she slid into the passenger seat, Lila flashed him a quick, tense smile. "You ready?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Ready as I'll ever be," he replied, putting the car in drive. But as he pulled onto the street, two sets of headlights suddenly flared to life behind them. Slick's stomach sank. He didn't need to look twice to know who it was. Maniac and Psycho, the two crooked cops who'd done all of Remy's dirty work. "They're onto us," Lila whispered, panic flashing in her eyes. "Stay calm," Slick muttered, hands tightening on the wheel. He veered to make a sharp turn, hoping to lose them in the maze of narrow streets, but Maniac's cruiser cut them off, forcing him to slam on the brakes. Psycho's car rolled up close behind, boxing them in. Before they could make a move, Maniac and Psycho were out of their cars, guns drawn. Slick and Lila exchanged a look, a shared realization that their luck had just run out. "Get out of the car!" Maniac barked, his voice hard and unyielding. Reluctantly, they opened their doors and stepped out, hands raised. Maniac grabbed Slick, shoving him forward as Psycho pulled Lila out, marching them back toward the house they'd just left. Lila cast a desperate glance at Slick, but he knew there was no talking their way out of this. Inside the house, Maniac slammed Slick down onto a chair, while Psycho cornered Lila. The air was thick with tension, and the silence felt like a coil winding tighter and tighter. "So, you two thought you could pull one over on Remy, huh?" Maniac sneered, crossing his arms. Lila's voice trembled, but she kept her gaze steady. "Remy's dead. This money's ours now." Maniac's eyes narrowed, and he let out a low, humorless laugh. "You're wrong about one thing, sweetheart. This money, it's ours. Well, you're about to find out." He motioned for Psycho, who'd been rifling through Slick's car. Psycho returned with a duffel bag stuffed with cash, the money they'd been saving to start their new lives. Maniac unzipped the bag, whistling low as he examined the stacks of bills. "Guess you two thought you were smart," Maniac said, his gaze shifting between them. "But Remy never liked smart mouths, and neither do we." Slick looked at Lila, regret flashing in his eyes. He'd thought they could get away, start fresh, but he should have known better. Remy's world had a way of holding on to you, even after you were gone. Before he could say another word, Maniac raised his gun, a cold glint in his eyes. "Good night, Slick," he said softly, pulling the trigger. Slick barely registered the pain before the world went dark. Lila's scream tore through the room, but it was cut short as Psycho turned on her, his face impassive, and fired. The sound echoed in the empty house, leaving only the faint smell of gunpowder and the eerie silence that followed. Maniac and Psycho looked at each other, a wordless understanding passing between them. Maniac gestured to the duffel bag, and Psycho scooped it up, slinging it over his shoulder as they made their way out of the house. To them, it was just another job, another payday. As they pulled away from the house, Maniac glanced at the rearview mirror, a twisted smile on his face. "Remy's stash, right where it should be," he muttered, the irony lost on him. But somewhere in the shadows of Newhallville, secrets lingered and ghosts waited, and even the dirtiest of cops couldn't stay clean forever.
Just trying to hit it another lick and put my dogs on. Free my niggas till I see my niggas, cause we all wrong. Pour a liquor, roll another with you, this my song, y'all. Funerals, I just miss my dudes that I could call on.